Maniac Mansion, one of the greatest point-and-click adventure games of all time. This game right here has defined a genre and sparked a love for quirky, offbeat storytelling that still holds up today. And of course, can't forget sequel Maniac Mansion, Day of the Tentacle, one of my favorite games as well. Total masterpiece. So when I heard about Cronela's Mansion, a brand new indie game that's a spiritual successor to Maniac Mansion, I was instantly hooked. Cronela's Mansion isn't just paying tribute to Maniac Mansion, it's taking things to a whole nother level. A modern day point-and-click adventure that's being developed for the regular Nintendo, the NES, the SNES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Yes, you heard that right. It's coming out on all of those consoles. And today, I'm diving into the brand new demo for the NES, the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance. And the best part, you can check it out for yourself right now. The demo is available, and I've got the link for you down in the description box below. But that's not all. The one-man development team behind Cronela's Mansion, known as Cronelas, he sent me a package in the mail that you can see right here, and I know there's a signed poster inside, but I have no idea what else is in there. And judging by the weight, and it does say that there's, I think, 4 things in here, so I'm pretty excited to find out what's inside, and you can see it's still sealed. I want to make sure that I don't open this until I've tried out the game. Now, Cronela's Mansion is currently building up the hype on Kickstarter, with the campaign going live on February 4th. This is a true passion project from an indie developer who is putting everything into making a game that feels like a lost classic from the golden age of point-and-click adventures. So if you love Maniac Mansion, or just want to see ambitious projects like this come to life, you're going to want to check this out. So let's jump in and see what Cronela's Mansion is all about, how each version looks, plays, and feels. Without further ado, let's dive in. Alright, Maniac Mansion fans, this one's for you. If you ever wanted a true spiritual successor to the 1987 classic, Cronela's Mansion might just be the game you've been waiting for. I spent time with the demo across multiple platforms, and I'm seriously impressed. Let's talk about everything and how each version looks, plays, and feels, alright? To start off with a little bit of the story and concept, Cronela's Mansion drops you into a mysterious town with a looming purple mansion at its center, which I really felt like it was a shout out to the purple tentacles from Maniac Mansion. Locals whisper about strange disappearances, and a pizza shop owner warns that bizarre people live there in the purple mansion, and that they're performing spells and even satanic rituals. Yeah, definitely not your average neighborhood. The game takes clear inspiration from Maniac Mansion, one of the most beloved point-and-click adventures of all time, definitely in my book. And if you don't know about Maniac Mansion, it debuted at the Consumer Electronics Show, aka CES, in 1987. And then about 2 years later, it launched on the Commodore 64 and the Apple II, and then eventually made its way to the NES in 1990, which is where I played it. That was actually my first introduction to the genre, was Maniac Mansion on the regular Nintendo. I have very fond memories of renting that game and playing it all together with my 2 older brothers, Richard and John, and my cousin Jim and my cousin Julie. I remember playing this at Jim's house in his room. We rented this, I think we rented it from Blockbuster, and it was just so much fun playing this game together and trying to figure out what to do collectively. Because only one person has the controller, but we're all throwing out ideas of what to do in the game and what to try. And it was just so much fun. And even just playing this demo today, I was having those same nostalgic feelings again, because so much of what we did in Maniac Mansion I was doing today in the demo with Cronela's Mansion. And I have to say, right from the start, Cronela's Mansion nails that same eerie yet humorous vibe, and I was hooked right away. that classic sense of curiosity and adventure really kicked in immediately, making me want to explore every inch of this bizarre world. Now, when it comes to the gameplay and controls, yeah, it controls like a classic point-and-click adventure with that same puzzle-solving charm Maniac Mansion fans will appreciate, or again, anyone who played point-and-click adventure games. You'll explore, collect items, interact with different characters, and solve puzzles, all the hallmarks of the genre. So the controls were good all around, whether you're playing on the NES, the Game Boy Color, or the Game Boy Advance. And I thought the navigating the environment felt very smooth and responsive. One standout feature is the in-game notes system. You can press the select button and it opens a menu where you can store notes about anything important that happens. So if you talk to an NPC and they drop a clue or something, it will go into the notes menu, which is really cool because if you think about it, playing games growing up like Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, or even Zelda 2, Adventures of Link, and think about all the NPCs that you talk to in those games and how they give you just the most cryptic clues. Well, now you can press the select button and you can go back and read those cryptic clues again instead of going back to the town to read it again, which I thought was a really nice quality of life improvement over the games that we had back then. So I applaud that gameplay mechanic being added into the game. When it comes to the graphics and the art style, for the NES version, I thought it looked fantastic for an NES title. You know, Maniac Mansion had some problems on the NES, especially with like clipping, but Cronela's Mansion runs silky smooth with none of those problems that we had, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s. But the Game Boy Color version, the color palette was nice for Game Boy Color. I thought it really took advantage of the hardware, so to speak. And then with the GBA version, I thought this is where it kind of got a little wild. The title screen alone is a nostalgic time capsule. And if you look at the room, it's just packed with references like Back to the Future, Gremlins, Bruce Lee, Terminator, Spyro, and even an NES running Super Mario Brothers on a CRT. And of course, you got the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon posters. Really cool. I feel like that could have been my bedroom growing up, right? But each version has its own unique graphical differences, which I thought was really cool and just gives you more reason to check out all versions. Let's talk about the sound design a little bit. The NES version has some serious Maniac Mansion vibes in its title screen. There's one note in particular that definitely made me like stop for a second. I'm like, oh, there's the Maniac Mansion. I love it. But the rest of it sounds completely original. I took it as a shout out, right? A kind of an Easter egg for Maniac Mansion fans. The GBA version, as you would expect, takes things even further with improved depth and layering in its music. It's definitely a noticeable step up, which makes sense. But it's cool that, again, the developer Strainus is taking advantage of the hardware, right? Because, of course, the GBA has a much better sound chip than the NES. So it's nice to see. And again, remember, we have other versions of the game coming. We have the Super Nintendo version, Nintendo Switch, and PC. So I'd be interested to hear how each game sounds and to see how each game looks. So who's this game for? If you love retro adventure games, point-and-click classics, LucasArts style humor, I think you're gonna feel right at home here. Strainus really nailed everything. Of course, fans of Maniac Mansion and Maniac Mansion Day of the Tentacle, and even modern indie adventure games will find a lot to love here. So when it comes to the overall vibe, I think the energy here is just pure retro adventure magic. Cronela's Mansion, it doesn't copy Maniac Mansion, but it captures the essence of Maniac Mansion while still feeling fresh and original. And the humor is spot on with that, again, that distinctly dry, quirky style. And even the different versions of the game change up small details, making each game worth exploring. For example, in the NES version, you'll find a well and a treehouse in the backyard of the mansion, while the GBA version swaps that out for a swimming pool And then the Game Boy Color version even lets you explore a pub and enter the sewers. It was cool because if you played all 3 demos, you actually got to see more of the game. And there are plenty of nods to the original Maniac Mansion game. One character definitely reminds me of Weird Ed. They deliver lines that reference one of the most infamous moments from Maniac Mansion, which is putting the hamster in the microwave and then the hamster exploding. So again, if you play this demo, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's also a hilarious radio station ad for a Turbo Hyper Mega Max 3000 Power Plus 4000 chainsaw that you apparently need to watch a commercial to buy. And you can actually go turn on the TV in the game and watch the commercial, which again, that's just another shout out to Maniac Mansion. If you know, you know. But it's little details like this that give the game so much personality. Like, there's definitely a lot of care put into this game. And these little details make the game feel alive and full of surprises. So is the game fun so far? The short answer, yes. The game feels polished, like really polished for a demo. I was impressed, especially knowing that this is a one-man team. There were no early frustrations. It was just like pure nostalgic adventure goodness. I wanted to keep exploring, I really did. But that just made me that much more excited to check out the other versions because I played the NES version first. And when the demo ended, I genuinely was like, oh man, I wanted to keep playing. This is so good. This is so intriguing. It was very interesting. But again, that just made me jump into the GBA and Game Boy Color versions immediately after. And what was cool, like I mentioned, is that each version has some differences and a little bit more to explore. So there's reason to try all 3 of them if you have the ability to do so. I would say the only downside, I was genuinely sad when the demo ended. All right, friends, now for something really special. This just arrived from the developer. As promised, I'm gonna open it up in front of you guys because I have not seen what's in here. I don't know what's in here. I like surprises too, so we're gonna find out together what's in here. And a big shout out again to the developer. This came from Spain, all the way from Spain. So obviously it took a while to get here. Cost a lot of money to mail out. I appreciate it very much. So let's see what's in here. Here we go. All right. Okay. So everything's wrapped up very nicely. I'll say that. And here's the first item. And so when I spoke to the developer Cronelas, he mentioned that he was sending a signed poster, but I don't know what else is in there. So this is the item that I do know. I'm gonna be careful because I will end up framing this. Oh, that is so cool. You guys can see here, and I'll zoom in when I edit this, but I want to be careful. We got a nice little message down here from the developer. You guys can see that nice message there. It says, to my dear friend Steve, Francesco. That's so cool. Awesome, man. Thank you, brother. I very much appreciate it. That is so nice. And again, I'm going to get this framed. Probably go to Michael's maybe over the weekend, get a nice frame for this. So I'm gonna put this over here. It's nice, safe, out of the way. I don't want to mess anything up. Okay, here we go. Get this out of the way. And I can already see like what it is. Like, it looks like the game boxes. But let me check here. I was gonna say, it feels like there's some weight to this. Oh my God. This is the actual game right here. And you guys can see how cool that cover is. And it says this is the press demo. You can see the back. Looks just like an NES box. This is so cool. And then here's a box for Game Boy. And again, the game's in here too. And for Game Boy Advance. And try to get that glare off of the box here, but oh my god, this is so cool. Okay, it's a sticker. We got a little Strainus logo sticker there. And yeah, this is a keychain. This is so cool. And it's got a keychain with the actual characters on it. And again, I'll do a close-up so you guys can see this better, but this is so cool. Big shout out to Francesco for sending me all of this awesome stuff. This is so cool. Yeah, I know a great spot for it, of course. I'm gonna find a home for it on my shelf next to Maniac Mansion Day of the Tentacle and the original Maniac Mansion. I will get it somewhere nicely up there, all three of these boxes. And again, I can't say thank you enough for sending this over to me and allowing me to unbox this with my audience. This is really cool. And I can't wait for the full game. You guys know that, and you're gonna hear it in the last segment of my impressions here, but very cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, brother. And without further ado, let me give you guys my final thoughts on my first impressions of Cronela's Mansion. And there you have it. Cronelas Mansion is shaping up to be something really special, and I'm beyond excited to see where this project goes next. The demo is already showing so much potential, and if you're a fan of classic point-and-click adventures, this is absolutely a game to keep on your radar. The Kickstarter campaign officially goes live on February 4th, and I'm personally looking forward to backing it myself. If you want to support an incredible indie developer and help bring this game to life, check out the Kickstarter preview page. I've got a link down in the description below, and let me know in the comments, what did you think of Cronela's Mansion so far? Are you a Maniac Mansion fan like me? And will you be backing this game? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss my full thoughts when the final game releases. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember, you're never too old to play video games.